So this is my first video on here, but basically I wanted to make a YouTube to just discuss different books I like, why I like them, and different things like that, just because I thought it'd be fun and it's something I'm gonna try. It'll be my 2026 resolution. Okay, another part of my goals for 2026. I tend to buy a lot of books and I'm looking to cut back on doing that. So I'm going to pick a number of 20 books that I already own that I am trying to commit to reading this year. So it can't be a book that I'm going out to buy. And again, I might not meet this quota. I might buy a different book before reading these 20s. I mean, you never know. So I'm gonna let you know what books those are, again, that I already own and that I plan on reading and that I know are like going to be at the top of my list that I want to get through this year. Okay, alrighty, let's get into it. First book on my list is going to be the Red Winter series. It's actually books 1 through 3, so it's sort of like Inuyasha. Obviously, I mean, look at it. It's kind of like, that's what drew me to it, was that it was a wreck like Inuyasha, the anime series. So basically, she's going to be a goddess's vessel, and she somewhat discovers something that makes her question everything as a priestess. And she meets him, who's like a fox demon-ish, and he has a curse that's binding him and only she can break, just like Kagome and Inuyasha. And she's basically trying to figure out whether or not to trust him throughout the series, why to believe what he's saying, whether or not she should free him when she discovers what's going on. And it seems really interesting. So that will be like the number 1 book on my list. It's also 3 books. So this is not 1 book. This is 3 books in 1. I got this on Amazon. Okay, so this next one is actually going to be 3 books on the 20 list. So that brings us to 4. It's the Kane Chronicles by Rick Riordan, who also wrote the Percy Jackson series. So I started this in middle school. I remember really liking it. I have no idea why I didn't finish it. Maybe I got impatient and the library was like out of the copies or something. I don't know. But I'm making it a goal of mine to finish the series this year. And it's about 2 siblings and it takes place in present time, but it has Egyptian mythology, and it's like 2 siblings that are magicians descended from Egyptian pharaohs, and basically they end up fighting like Egyptian gods and stuff like that. So anyways, it's really interesting. I'm really looking forward to it. It's not open because I got it for Christmas. I just realized the Red Winter series, even though it's 1 big book, it's 3 in 1, which I did already say. And you know what? This is my channel, so I'm gonna go ahead and count that. We're at 6 books. I'm counting this as 3 of my 20. So our 7th book is going to be What You Are Looking For is in this library. I don't know why I did that. So basically it is about a group of people throughout the book series who are, well, they feel like they're stuck in their life. Like there's a struggling mom, there's students, it's just different people that feel stuck in their day-to-day lives or stuck with a problem that they have. So the librarian can sense what book they need to sort of get them out of that or sort of get them through it. So it's just a cozy read, and I got it because we have a kitty now and I'm into this whole cat mom thing. So I've been trying to like collect books that are centered around cats or have cat characters in them. So this will be one of the books on our list. So speaking of, this is Bad Cat. Say hi. He's happy here, I promise. So we just got him. He's like 4 months, 5 months old. And he's the sweetest little boy, except for like early in the morning or late at night. And then he gets kind of like rowdy. I don't know. I'm new to this cat thing. Maybe that's normal. Maybe all cats have that same schedule. So anyhow, I just wanted to introduce y'all. This is Bad Cat. Hey, Bad Cat. He helps me read sometimes. when he's not biting the pages. Okay, so this is another cozy book that I would like to read. It was on my list for 2025 and it just didn't make it. So it's called The Dallergut Dream Department Store. Oh, you left me. It does that a lot. So basically, it's about a store that you can go and purchase dreams and how they end up like affecting your day-to-day life. It's another cozy book, but I guess animals and humans go in to purchase dreams. So anyhow, I thought it was a really cute, like, cozy read. So that's going to be on my list too. This is going to be the year of cozy. So this is book 9. It's called Kill Creatures, and it's more of a thriller type, I think, supernatural, based on the summary. But it's about a girl who last summer went to the river with 3 of her friends. And 3 of the friends went missing, and this whole time this girl's story was that they just vanished into thin air. So they have a memorial for the girls a year later, and for some reason she thinks it's a good idea to wear the exact same outfit as the outfit she was in when they went missing, which kind of tells me more about the main character, in the sense that I'm not really finding the main character reliable. Also, the part that all of a sudden one of the girls comes back. It's not clear yet if all 3 come back, but one of the girls is found alive. And then in the summary, it talks about how the last time she was alive was right before the main character killed her, and then proceeded to kill the other 2. So I'm really looking forward to this. I've been thinking about this all year, or since it came out, and yeah, it's number 9 on our list. I am going to read this book, the next thriller I read, because I read based on moods. I don't read like, oh, this one's next on my list, so that's what I have to read. I have to be in the mood for a thriller. I have to be in the mood for a romance. I have to be in the mood for romantasy, fantasy, anything like that. I have to be in the mood for it. So the next time I'm in the mood to read a thriller. So this is the 10th book on our list. It's called The Underwild, and it's got a sort of Greek mythology to it. Actually, it is Greek mythology. I don't know why I said sort of. So I'm just going to read you the little blurb on the back. It says, "My fate is to walk among ghosts, but to never become one myself. My name is Senka, and I am a farrier of souls." Okay, so I'm going to read you the summary because, I don't know, I think it's very, like, short but descriptive. So I'm going to do that now. So it says Senka. It's either Senka or Senka. Senka lives between the realm of the living and the realm of the dead. As ward to Charon, the ferryman of the underworld, Senka assists in guiding recently departed souls across the river and into their afterlife. She must heed the rules in order to become an official farrier. Then, a living girl, Poppy, enters the underworld to plead for help in finding the ghost of her brother. But helping Poppy goes against the rules. When Poppy is yanked away by the river's current, Senka leaps to save her, and they are swept downriver into the unmapped depths of the underwild. Far from everything Senka has ever known. Lost in the underwild, Senka and Poppy encounter spirits of lore and eccentric ghosts, and not all are willing to let souls slip through their grasp. Senka knows the living can't stay in the realm of the dead for long, and if Poppy isn't returned home soon, she'll become lost to the underwild forever. But as Senka travels deeper into the underwild, she discovers Charon holds the answer to the mysteries surrounding her own existence. As Poppy and Senka dodge angry demigods, hungry wraiths, and a terrifying dragon chimera, Senka starts unraveling the truth of her own past. Soon, she won't just need to save Poppy's life, she'll also need to save her own. And I believe this ends up being like a series. So this is book 1, and I think it's going to end up being like a 3-book series, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong, could just be a duology. But this has been on my list for a little while now. Again, I like Rick Riordan's books, and I loved Percy Jackson. I was in a bit of like a Greek mythology era, and that's when I picked this one up, but I just didn't get a chance to read it, so that's next. Okay, so this book right here, this is our 11th book. It's called Lore of the Wilds. It came out a little while ago. I just haven't gotten a chance to read it, but it's gotten a lot of good reviews, and I love fae books, especially like completely magic-centered ones, if that makes sense. I do love romantasy, but I don't want that to be the plot. I want it to have an actual plot with like a subtlety of romance. So basically, it's about a girl, young woman, who lives in a world that's dominated by the fae, and she's trapped. Her village is trapped, surrounded by fae, and she's tried to get out before, and she has like the scars to prove it, so she's been harmed somehow trying to leave, and she makes a deal with like a fae lord to escape, and she claims it's because of money, of financial gain, but instead she's actually looking for magical powers to keep for herself, to protect herself. So it's an interesting book, and obviously there's going to be some sort of betrayal in it and multiple love interests, but it should be a really good book. I'm looking forward to it. Okay, so our next book is The House Saphir. It's about a girl who comes from a long line of witches, but she doesn't have any magic, and neither does her sister. So they sell like bogus charms to tourists mostly, and like bogus spells. So that's some of the background for our characters. And basically there's a manor, House Saphir, where a long time ago a man had murdered 3 of his wives, or yes, he did. He massacred 3 of his wives, and his great-great-great-great-grandson has inherited this house, and he believes there's ghosts. And although our main female character doesn't have witch powers, she can still speak to and see ghosts. But apparently it's not very handy for her to make a living with. So she still has that magical property. There's still that magical influence in the book. But basically, the great-great-great-great-grandson hears about her, about how she can commune with ghosts. So he tries to hire her to figure out if the great-great-great-great-grandfather is haunting this house still, and to cleanse the house. And I'll just read you the back. It says, some claim that to this day, LeBlau's sinister laughter can still be heard echoing through the halls of the mansion. And every year, on the anniversary of his death, the fountain where he was killed runs red with blood. And this year, there's also a murder, and she ends up becoming a part of the investigation. Okay, I have been really looking forward to this book coming out. It's called The Things Gods Break, and it's the sequel to the games Gods Play. And basically, it is about the Greek gods, so it's another Greek mythology book. It's about the Greek gods who, every certain number of years, they have a challenge where they each choose their own victor for a set of trials, and whoever wins gets the throne of Olympus. So they basically get to be the head honcho, you know, the head god, the boss. And I don't want to spoil it, because I'm not going to tell you who won, what happens, what betrayals, but there's plenty of it. So read the first book. Again, the first book is called The Games Gods Play, and it's basically, the sequel is about who won and all the consequences that come along with that, and a certain curse-like thing that happens because someone wins. So that's what I've been looking forward to reading. I don't know. I have it in my hand, clearly. I've been looking forward to it since the release of the first book. I mean, I finished it in like a day, and I've had it on my calendar. I pre-ordered it. I was so excited. It came in, and I just haven't had that need to pick up the book and read it. But I know it's going to be really good. I thoroughly enjoyed the first one. I'm not in the mood, I guess, to read Greek mythology at the moment. And like I said earlier, I have to be in the mood to read a certain book. And if I'm not in the mood, I just won't enjoy it as much. I can read a book and get through it, but I don't want that. I want to read it to actually enjoy the experience. So hopefully I'll get there. Hopefully sometime soon I will be ready to read the book. And just wanted to show you the side sprayed edges. And okay, that doesn't spoil anything. Let's see. All right, so as you can tell, the lighting has changed. That's because it is now dark out. I had to take a brief break, a little intermission, to cook for the family. So I'm back now, and we're gonna finish up. We're gonna wrap up our books here. So this book is called The Story Collection, and it takes place, well, actually, it takes place in Ireland, and there's two plots. The subplot is about 100 years ago, there was an English author who was translating folk tales and stories from Irish to English, and a girl named Anna was helping him. And then something occurred. Anna discovered a secret of something, and something occurred. Then, flash forward to today, I guess 100 years later, a new girl, that would be Sarah Harper, she ends up going to Ireland to visit. We're not told why, but she unearths some secrets. So obviously it's going to have to do with Anna's tale. It's going to have to do with whatever happened to Anna. Maybe Sarah's related to the English author. Maybe Anna went missing. We don't know. But this is the next book that I really wanted to get into. I also got this when I was reading more books based in Scotland, Ireland, and I guess I just didn't read this book, but I am looking forward to it. I really want to read this. All right, so I don't know about you all, but I love Abby Jimenez's work. I'm a big fan of it. I have a few of her books already. I've read them, and I truly love them. I really do. So the book that's on my list now, it's newer. It's called Say You'll Remember Me. I haven't read it yet, but it's basically about a young woman and a man who meet, and at first they don't really click. He seems a little like full of himself. She thinks she's better than him. Anyhow, they end up having an amazing time together. They have like one night together, and she realizes she just doesn't have the time for a serious relationship at the moment. She has a lot going on at home. She has big responsibilities. So she tells him to forget all about her. My guess is that occurs, and then somehow they meet up later on, and the same issues get brought up. The thing I love about Abby Jimenez's work is the family portion. So she always has sort of like a real life conflict that you would find today. So something that the average person would deal with. Nothing bizarre, but just family struggles, not having time for a relationship, work struggles. She always has that in her books. And I think that's why I like them a lot, because it makes them more real and authentic. So I'm looking forward to reading them. All right, the next book on our list is called The Spare, and it's centered around a company, a billionaire company, where there is a CEO position that will be met by one of the children, basically. So it's called The Spare because the first book is obviously about the spare, the second child. So basically she has her degree in business. She does really well. She's being eyed for the CEO position, but her family's not really considering her. And so she's basically, it's not really like a fight with her sibling, but she's definitely competing for the CEO's spot. And at one point, someone who she needs to work with in order to gain this spot and land this huge business deal is her brother's ex-best friend, who she also had a crush on. So obviously you have that romantic element there. And I also bought the second and third book. I haven't read this yet, mind you, but I bought the second and third book because the reviews were really good. The next book is called The Heir, and the last one is, oh my goodness, I'm blanking. I can't remember what the last one's name is. Hold on. All right, I'm back. The last one is called The Charmer. So anyhow, I really love the plot, and I'm gonna read it. I also read the Fine Print series, and I really loved that. So I have a feeling I'm gonna like this. Okay, this book is called Fairy Tale, and it's by Stephen King. I picked this up like 2 years ago, maybe 3. I picked this up the last time we were in the Keys for our honeymoon, and I told myself I would read it that trip, and I did not. I did not at all. So we got it at Mr. Bean's Books and Beans. If you're ever in Marathon Key in Florida, check them out. He literally has a cat that lives at the bookshop. It's so sweet. It's so cute. They have a little cafe area. I mean, every time we go to the Keys, I make sure it's part of our trip. I make my husband take me to the bookstore. And anyways, shout out to Mr. Bean's Books and Beans. This is not sponsored, by the way, but I just really love going there. It's a great atmosphere. They have a whole section of used books, new books. It's great. So I'm going to go ahead and read you the plot, the summary. Charlie Reed looks like a regular high school student, great at baseball and football, a decent student, but he carries a heavy load. His mom was killed in a hit-and-run accident when he was 7, and grief drove his dad to drink. Charlie learned how to take care of himself and his dad. When Charlie is 17, he meets a dog named Radar and her aging master, Howard Bowditch, a recluse in a big house at the top of a big hill with a locked shed in the backyard. Sometimes strange sounds emerge from that shed. Charlie starts doing jobs for Mr. Bowditch and loses his heart to Radar. Then, when Bowditch dies, he leaves Charlie a cassette tape, telling a story no one would believe. What Bowditch knows and has kept secret all his long life is that inside the shed is a portal to another world. Okay, you can't tell me that's not interesting. I mean, and again, I've heard good reviews about this. I just haven't picked it up and read it, and it has been on my list for like 2 to 3 years. So I'm getting through this no matter what. I'm getting through this. This is probably going to be one of my #1 reads this year, but I'm looking forward to it. And I think it's going to be a little scary. So I'm here for that. I'm here for that. All right, this is the next book on my list. It's called The Bonds of Hercules. Make sure you can see that. Oh, these are the sprayed edges, by the way. That's the inside. I love showing off a beautiful book, so I'm doing that. So this is the second book to Blood of Hercules, and it's another Greek mythology book. It's another book that involves trials and a very misunderstood female main character. Misunderstood by others, not the reader. She's got a great backstory. The only issue I had with the main character was, well, I guess I wanted her to have more of a backbone. But given her history, given her past, given the things she was dealt with, given the abuse she went through, and that's immediately in the book, so that's not a spoiler. Given all of that background information, it's understandable why she would be a little more docile, I guess. And maybe some people don't agree. Maybe they think that she was loud and proud, and maybe they think that she was bold enough. But for me, she wasn't at all. And she allows her trainees for this competition to believe certain things about her that just simply aren't true. And I guess that's just not something I would have done. So maybe that's why I didn't like it. I liked the book. I just didn't like that aspect, that trait for the character. Also, the writing did fall a little flat. But I do believe this was a debut novel, so that could be part of it. Again, that being said, I ate it up. I mean, I tore this book up in a matter of just a couple days. It was amazing. I did not put it down. Maybe because it was so easy to follow. But it was a good read. I was there for the vibes. Certain books I'm a little more, I don't know, critical of. And other books I'm like, oh, it's 5 stars just because of the vibes. So take that as you will. I'm still clearly looking forward to reading this book. And it's on my list for 20 books to read this year. So this book I also picked up in the Keys, but I picked it up in a different bookstore. I don't recall the name, but I'll leave it in the comments if you're interested. So it's called A Dreadful Fairy Book. It says, meet Shade. She's dreadful at being the perfect fairy. This is Shade's dreadful story told dreadfully. Whatever expectations you have of delightful and whimsical fairies are sure to be disappointed. There are certainly fairies, but most are not proper fairies. Our heroine is, perhaps, the worst offender. Shade is on a quest to find a place to call home, a place positively filled with books. Okay, I think we can all relate to that. It's very magical. I'm sure it's whimsical. I'm looking forward to this. This is definitely going to be one of my books this year. We are finally at book 20. Again, this is 20 books I definitely want to read this year. Doesn't mean I won't read new books or other books. This is 20 books I already own that I have made it a mission to read. So it's called Rose and Chains. Again, this is our last book. It's about, well, let me see if I can. Basically, it's a Dramamine fanfic turned book. It's loosely based on Dramamine. Loosely, but clearly. So it's based on that, and it's about a woman who thought her kingdom, her people would win the war, and they did not. And she ended up being sold for auction to a different family because of the type of magic that she possesses. And throughout this whole ordeal, there's a rebellion that's starting that she needs to figure out how she can become a part of it, how she can escape this family who are like cruel and terrifying and powerful. And that's the story. And obviously it's Rose in chains because it's either going to be metaphorical chains or obviously physical. So those are the books that we are planning on reading this year. Thank you so much for hearing me yap, and let me know what kind of books that you're reading this year. Perhaps books that you already own that you're trying to get off of your TBR, or maybe you have certain book releases that are coming up that you know you're going to want to read this year. So anyhow, that was me. Bye!